The Vegetarian Society of Australasia is really, at the moment, more of a information distribution centre rather than an active society with respect to having monthly meetings. But the society started in about 1950, and there was a time during the 50s and 60s into the 70s and 80s when speakers would be sought from overseas, and certain speakers would fill the Melbourne Town Hall, and they would be put on or presented under the auspices of the Vegetarian Society, so that the societies in the past had historically, I suppose, represented aspects of health, so that vegetarian and health were two aspects of what became or was become recently known as vegetarianism. Vegetarianism is the practice of living on products of the vegetable kingdom, with or without the use of eggs and dairy products, but excluding entirely the consumption of any part of the body of an animal as food, including chicken and fish. The term vegetarian means a person who follows such practice or describes such a person, creature, establishment or food pertaining to vegetarianism. The vegetarian societies maintain that a vegetarian diet is more humane, is more conducive to good health, is fundamental to resolving the world food problem, creates fewer demands on the environment, is more aesthetically pleasing, is more economical, and is easier to prepare than an orthodox diet. Veganism is a way of living on the products of the plant kingdom to the exclusion of all products from the animal kingdom. A vegan is a total vegetarian who consumes no animal byproducts. The vegans go even further by avoiding both animal derivatives and animal tested products in their whole lifestyle. This means an avoidance of meat, milk, eggs, butter, etc., as well as leather, wool, cosmetics, soaps and shampoos derived from animal ingredients or tested on animals. The aims and objectives of the Vegan Society are to promote veganism, to encourage the study and use of alternatives to all products derived wholly or partly from animals, to further knowledge of and interest in sound nutrition and vegan methods of agriculture and food production as a means of increasing the potential of the earth to the physical, economic and moral benefit of all living beings, to provide means of social contact and exchange of information among members, and to take any action which will further the corporate life of the society and which may be conducive to the society's aims. Health, of course, is a very personal thing, and it's also a relative state. Health generally is a much used word, and possibly as a result of that also a much abused word. Health is a function at any time of each of us in terms of the relationship we have with respect to the ease under which the body is able to perform, and we as individuals are able to perform. In fact, the three main aspects relating to health are really the health which is a potential for health which is given to us at birth, so that we have through our genes a possibility, a potential to health, and as individuals we all have this. Animals have it and humans have it, plants have it. It depends on the environment, which is the second aspect, as to the production of that potential. And of course as humans with a consciousness and the ability to choose and select partially the environment we live in, but once having selected we are subject to the vagaries of that environment which we are in. But of course the third aspect of health is how we use ourselves and how we place the choices we make with respect to how we go about living. And then that follows on that, for instance, in the instance of vegetarian selection, or the selection of nutrition and diet, in principle, in all ways, the act of actually choosing the food we eat and the reasons why we might choose to eat that food are important in terms of how we move ahead. Most people who become vegetarians don't go back to meat eating, so it would seem that there is enough evidence, experiential evidence on behalf of the people who are actually moving into a vegetarian dietary regime, that they are satisfied with the results of that. A fair proportion of the land mass of the earth has been given over to grazing animals in all forms for either meat and or dairy consumption, and the proportion of land mass attributed to animals is extraordinarily and predominantly large in comparison to the amount of food which is actually produced as a result of these sources. One has, I suppose, recently there's been a view that with an increasing population, that the land which is available to us for agriculture will eventually run out, and that is something which then implies that if one is going to select an efficient way of producing food, that one which requires a smaller amount of land for the quality and quantity of food which is able to feed all of us, it's more appropriate that that is done efficiently. And so the problem that is seen from the point of view of overall food production is one where it's seen that to enable humans to gather sufficient nutrition from a dietary which they might choose, then it is not essential to actually have animals in the environment to achieve that. There are many other aspects, of course, with respect to the movement of compaction of topsoil, the movement of and restoration and conservation of water. Something like, I believe, 50% of the water which is currently used in the world is used in the area of agriculture and feeding of animals. And of course, if the amount of nutrition and the number of people in the world being nearly 6,000 million people now, the number of people who have access to the results of large-scale grazing of animals is the smaller proportion of the world's population, so that there's seen again to be some sort of imbalance in the way that that the world's resources are available to everyone. Fruit and vegetables provide the basis for an economical selection of meal in season. There are a number of vegetarian styles, if you like. In fact, there are quite a few in the West. Of course, we have a background, Anglo-Saxon background in many cases, and that's the old meat and three veg approach. If one does away with the meat, then one's left with three veg. Well, that has been a traditional style of eating for many people. If one is coming from Mediterranean areas, then there might be more of a concentration on pasta and fresh salad products. Most of the European and Western dietaries incorporate bread in some fashion. In Asian style cooking, the use of different sorts of food preparations such as steaming and stir frying of food with a minimal protein base in comparison to meat, for instance, but with a more concentration on rice and grain content, so that there is a wide variety of food which generally is, certainly in terms of the cost of food production, it certainly works out very reasonably priced to be eating vegetarian food with respect to comparing it to meat eating. I think what's happening now is because in the wider society there is an understanding which is, I think, daily becoming more readily accepted, that the concept of having a vegetarian diet is appropriate to following a philosophy of good health, that the general mainstream media, as well as specialists who are working in the area of health, are really very much in favour now of the vegetarian movement, and so, as well as the information put out by societies in terms of their own newsletters and magazines, there are many health videos which are now available. There are cassettes which are available. There are mainstream supermarkets, I think, with their own vegetarian magazines now. So that there's quite a wide variety and interest of information available. So gathering information is not really a problem. When you're shopping, it's better to actually choosing by colour. It's really good to make the food connection. Do your own shopping in the fruit and vegetable shop actually is an excellent way of really connecting with your body's needs. It's very important.
So are there any particular colours that go together?
Oh, well, yeah, certainly. I think all the colours go together. I think there is some innate wisdom in our bodies which is able to actually view and recognise immediately, and this is still available in most people to have that ability to recognise what food it is that we actually need. And so if someone walks into a fruit and vegetable shop like this, some things will stand out. On certain days it will be orange, which will be the oranges, or pumpkin or the squash, and other days it will be red, which will be the tomatoes or maybe apples, and at other times it might be the green leaf, or it might be the avocados or something similar. And so these things often will jump out at you. It's very, very important making that food connection. One of the main differences with shopping in a fruit and vegetable shop as opposed to a supermarket with packages around goods and processed foods where things are chopped up with labels on, is that one is actually looking at the real food as nature produced it. It's that natural instinct of connecting with food which is very important.